What's up, everybody? We've got Emmanuel or Emma in the Teklo's workshop today. How about you introduce yourself? Who are you? What brought you onto the show today?
Yeah, so like you said, I go by Emmanuel, but I go by Emma. Let's see. So I'm still, I would say in my mind, still like new-ish to Flesh and Blood in a way. I've only been playing for like a year and some change. I started playing back in February of last year, right during heavy hitters meta, and you can think a couple of my buddies. It was Sam and Conrad. Those are my buddies that got me into the game. They didn't really, I guess, they played a little bit of like TCGs before, but this is kind of like their big dive into it, and so they played it for a little while, and then they were like, okay, it's time to try and get me and another buddy into it. So when I went down and played with them, my first hero was actually OG Dash. um,
Okay.
Played OG Dash, and I played Merrick Kemp's calling, the one in Texas, I was calling, was it Austin or Dallas? I don't remember. Some calling in Texas. His like top 8 list. So I played that. So it was kind of like a mid-range list, had like D-reacts in the
Okay.
sideboard and stuff.
It was like the switchboard with
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't like full tree frog or anything, just kind of like side, like switchboard type
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then after that, I played it for a little bit, and then my buddies were like, "Oh, if you like Dash, you should look at Dash.io." And then it kind of just went from there. Um, I've loved Dash.io since, I mean, I've been playing it since probably like over a year now, since like March of last year. I've had my moments where I'm like, oh, this isn't a great meta for Dash.
Yeah.
I've played other heroes. Like I got LL points on Enigma. When actually I went to Pro Tour Amsterdam and I played Enigma, but I Dash.io has always been my true love.
Yeah.
As you can kind
No.
of see here, I have the I was kind of showing you beforehand, but I got
I'm
the big
jealous.
player card.
I'm so
Um,
jealous.
So yeah, that's kind of short, sweet background of me, at least relating to Dash.io.
Yeah.
The first PQ I ever won. So the PQ to go to Amsterdam, I actually won it on Dash.io. um,
Nice. Nice.
and it was like heavy hitters meta. So I was like, everyone thought I was crazy playing Dash.io during heavy hitters.
So
Um,
you
yeah,
like immediately started winning PQs like right after playing. You said you hadn't even played card games before. So like
yeah. This is my first TCG.
how
Yeah,
did how
yeah.
did you go from like, never having played a TCG and like not really knowing anything to picking up like a B tier at best hero during heavy
Right.
hitters meta and
Right.
and winning a PQ with it? Like what is the kind of like the process behind that?
Sure. I mean, when I first got into it, I was like, "Oh, this is such a cool game." So I'm like,
Mhm.
this was all I did for.
Okay.
I mean, this was like, cause like I've played. I'm a big like I'm big into like poker, other kinds of card
Okay,
games,
yeah.
and like that's what would take up my time. And then I got into this, and this is just like everything I did. It's like
Okay.
I was like playing, as many games as I could every day, and like in especially in paper, cause Dash.io is very different on paper than it is on Talishar.
Yeah.
So I just, yeah, that's all it really was just I just grinded the deck. Don't get me wrong, I was also kind of lucky, as like I guess as like all successful TCG players, they kind of have to be lucky to some extent.
Yeah.
Oh, um, but yeah, that PQ run was kind of interesting because it was a fairly small PQ. And the people that the heroes I played against were like, I didn't really play like the Victors and the Kasai. Well, I guess I did play a Kasai, but like I didn't play like the real fatigue heroes, and like I knew Dash.io was favored in the KO.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the reasoning why I still thought the deck was fine to play. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I would definitely have to say a good chunk of it was luck, but it definitely wasn't a lack of putting in effort. I was like putting in a ton of time,
Okay.
right off the bat.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely like getting reps in, especially in paper is like so
yeah,
important because I mean, you can jam games on Talishar, but you
right,
never know like it's just so much more whenever it's like, okay, start of turn, take off all my items. Start
exactly,
of action phase, then Teklo core hits there and it's just like every single time
exactly.
like I come from Magic, so it's like I always do like untap upkeep draw.
Oh,
Like
sure, sure.
every single time I play. So
Yep,
every single time I play this, it doesn't matter what hero I'm playing, if I'm playing Tunic, if I'm not playing Tunic, whatever.
yep,
It's like start of turn, start of action phase, every single
right,
time, no matter
yep.
what. You just got to get into that groove of everything, especially like if you're new to the game and like you don't really know
Mhm.
all of the phases just yet. But
Right.
Yeah, no, I agree. Especially this deck is just so much fun. Like
Oh man,
casting your
this is
second max V in a game is just like into my
yeah.
veins, please.
Oh my dude, so we'll get into this when we talk about the matchups, but like this weekend, the amount of maximum velocities that I casted were crazy. It was it
That's
was it was like a it was an it was like the deck has never functioned that well ever in my life. It was
That's
crazy.
awesome. I love to hear that because
Yeah.
I walk into every PQ or any like tournament that I go to, it's like, okay, it's gonna be, 4 rounds of Swiss. I want to play 8 maximum velocities in those 4 rounds. Like
Right,
that's
exactly.
how I want to play this game. If I do two a round, like I don't
Yep,
know how I lose these games.
exactly. Even into like fatigue, yeah, like when you're casting that many max, yeah.
Yeah, and like that's the thing about Dashio is like, yes, she does have hard matchups, but there's some times where it's like you hear a Florian talking in the background. It's like, oh yeah, I just played against DIO. They played 3 max Vs. What can you do?
Right.
And it's just like, exactly, what can you do?
um right before going to Hartford this past weekend,
Hmm.
like an armory, like one of the armies right before, I played a buddy and he was on Florian, and it was like maybe like a 7 turn game, and I sent 4 max Vs, including 2 in 1 turn, and even with that, it was still like I barely got the win. So
Yeah,
like there are definitely times where like even if you're high rolling like that, you still can get fatigued, which feels so bad at times, but you
yeah.
have the tools to get over the top.
Yeah, there's one game where I played 4 max Vs where I didn't win, and that was whenever I was playing against the Zen, and they went
Sure.
Zen State token, and to the next
Yeah.
turn they had 2 Zen State tokens, and then the next
Yeah.
turn they still had one. That's
Right.
the only
So
time
yeah.
I've ever
Yeah.
lost by
Yeah.
playing that many max Vs. It's like,
That
oh
could.
god.
Yeah. Thank.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That does not sound fun.
No, that was pretty awful. But going into like what you were doing at this PQ last weekend, I have some questions about some things that you were doing
Yep.
that I've seen before. Like obviously, like talking to Rose, like she has some crazy ideas all the time, and I really
Of course.
enjoy like keeping up with all of her lists because she's got like 10 different ideas going all at the same time. And
Oh
I
yeah.
see one of her ideas that you were going with was the two. You're only on two backup protocol reds in the main and a
Yes.
backup protocol blue. What is the like? What's kind of the idea behind the backup protocol blue?
So there's two things that I really like about the backup protocol blue,
Hmm.
and one of them can also kind of be attached to the blue boom grenade.
Hmm.
So the backup protocol blue, the I guess actually there's three things. One is it gives you like I was running Hyperscrapper mainboard for this event. That I know that that's not optimal. It was just like I was missing a card, so I was kind of forced to run it mainboard.
Okay.
Um, it's like I have an updated list where it's in the sideboard now. But the whole point, that's the first thing, is it lets you be able to retrieve it if you've had to block with it
Hmm.
during the game, and you need the late game Hyper Scrapper for 12 dominate to win the game type thing. So that's the first thing. The second thing is it lets you late game, when let's say you still have one max V, let's say you've arsenaled it and you draw a full blue hand, and let's say two of them aren't even boost cards, it lets you convert full blue hands of non-boost cards into getting just even a blue 0 to 60, because at that point you're likely out of your backup reds and you've pitched your backup blue, so you'll likely to see it off the top, right? So this is like very late game. You see it off the top, you're able to play it out, crank it, get your second action point, and then go get any random zero cost blue from grave and still be able to send a late game max V. So it gives you that for late game. And then I kind of touched on it. There is the other thing, which is kind of what I kind of stapled it to the blue boom grenade. There's been, you know, especially in fatigue games, there's been multiple games where like an extra pistol shot wins me the game, right?
Yes.
Like they're at one and they're able to cover your whole turn plus the pistol. So just having a random blue item that has crank at the end of the game just to go pistol pistol can close out games, right?
Yeah.
Um, little things like that. I know that's kind of niche, but it's happened to me before. So
Oh
like,
no. Yeah.
um, those are like the three main reasons for it. I will say it's not like the most impactful card, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't get me wrong, but um, it lets you. It's better than just like a random crank item, because it at least can let you have potential to send a late game max fee off of a full blue hand type thing, right? Like it just gives you skill expression late game
Yeah.
potentially.
Or if like you have like a yellow zipper hit and like you're one away from being able to max V, and it's like, oh,
Sure.
I can pitch this yellow to go grab a blue
Grab
or
a blue.
something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, you can grab on their turn, pitch a yellow to grab a blue.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, there's plenty of use cases for it. How often they come up, you know,
Yeah.
that's another tale. But at least
I
there's not
mean,
like it's not just like, hey, I'm playing this random blue item. Like there are reasons for having it in the deck.
oh, definitely.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, this deck is like you're gonna see your whole deck. Like you're gonna get to your pitch
yeah.
stack. Like,
Oh,
and if
absolutely.
like or like your threat density basically since you're sparking so much, but
Right.
like you're gonna see it every single game. So
Yep.
I mean, every deck, every card in this deck really does like need to be
Has to have
impactful
some
in some
function.
way. Yeah,
Exactly.
so
Yeah.
yeah, some sort of function. It's like it's kind of good in a toolboxy deck ish, kind of,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
To have a card that can do everything, since you will see everything.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Oh, you're good. Um, but yeah, no, that's really interesting. I've never been on the backup blue before, but it's flown in and out of like people's of the zeitgeist of like the purple Discord and everything.
Right.
So
Yeah. There is also like I'm on 2 null time zone.
hmm,
There's a world where like you could cut down to 1 null time zone now that like mystic heroes aren't that important
yeah,
or not prevalent really.
hmm,
You could probably cut down to 1 null time zone and then stick in a blue backup protocol instead, like have it 1 and 1 that way.
hmm,
Um, just because null time zone, there could be certain matchups where like it just doesn't actually you don't there's nothing like it's like super prevalent you can name
yeah.
that'll like completely turn off their turn. Um, and then it still gives you slight flexibility with potential late game stuff with it.
Mm. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a huge lover of null time zone, honestly.
Oh, so am
Like,
I. I don't think I'll ever cut down to less than
yeah,
2. But it's just an idea where like
yeah,
if especially for like players that because I know that there's DO players that like struggle with what to name with no time zone.
yeah.
So I'm like, don't force yourself to play it. Backup blue is like a perfect replacement for it.
Yeah, if you
Or
are like that, or
or
if
a
you're
blue
a
boom
newer
grenade.
player, yeah, or
Exactly.
blue boom grenade and stuff like that. Definitely, I agree with that. I personally love null time zone. Like,
Yeah.
just name whatever would screw you over, basically. Like,
Right. Exactly.
if
Exactly.
a felling or a command and conquer would really hurt you next turn, just name that.
Yep. Oh,
Or
don't
you
get me
know,
wrong. My favorite play of all time. I was playing against a Mario.
hmm,
They didn't block the entire turn. So like, the last card and I hadn't dealed yet that turn. So like, right at the end of my turn, the top card is an old time zone. And like this guy has kept his whole hand. He's keeping 5 cards. What can an assassin do with 5 cards? So I play the null time zone and I name Bonds of Agony, and his turn was just to send Leave No Witnesses pass.
oh my god, that's so good. That's why I love the card because it's just
Yeah.
like, it, especially if you see it later in the turn, or if you like have it in your hand and you're like, you have like 2 blues and it's like, am I gonna pitch this null time zone or am I gonna pitch this?
Right.
And I mean, of course, like it depends. TM with Dio is like, how much of your pitch do you have left? Are you gonna be able to like this? Could be the thing that you pitch that gives you that extra pistol shot at the end of
Right.
the game, or you could
Right.
play it right now and like if it's early game, it's like, okay, I'm playing against Verdance or any warrior, and it's like, okay, cool. Name Sink Below. Like now you
Exactly.
don't get any of your, or you don't get one of your D reacts that you're definitely playing. Like, I'm
Exactly. Yeah.
so yeah, I think I just love that card. I think it's great. And then another thing that I had a question about was the 2 maximum velocities in the main board and then one in the
Yeah.
sideboard. So
Yes.
kind of like, what's the reasoning behind only playing 2? When are you playing all 3? When are you playing just 2?
Yep. So I excuse me. I was under like for the longest time. I only ran 2 in my deck. Period.
Mm,
I didn't even have 3. Um, Mainly, and you kind of pointed this when we were kind of chatting before. The main reason is the last thing I want to do in any game ever is draw 2 maximum velocities in one hand. Right.
yeah,
Granted, if you draw too early, like let's say it's like turn 1 or something, I'm okay. That's like okay because you're at
yeah,
least not being able. You can put 1 in grave, right? So like that's not the worst thing in the world. But like it's turn 4 and it's me. It's a Syndra and I'm playing against a Syndra and they're at 10 and I'm at 8. It's my turn and I have 2 max V's in hand. They're gonna win the game because I just cannot pressure
yes,
the life, right?
yeah,
So in any matchup, any aggro matchup, period. The Mirror, Syndra, even like Fang, um, Kano. Oh, actually, Kano's slightly different because I don't run Max V at all in the Kano. But like a lot of the aggro matchups, I'm only running 2 maximum because I never want to see 2 in a hand, and a lot of those games you can win the game without sending a Max V. Like
Mm.
you can pressure so much with just your other boost cards that you don't need to Max V them to win the game.
Yeah.
Um, and you're also like you're gonna see your deck so much faster with a lean 60 into other aggro that you're likely to see Cerebellums, Boom Grenades off the top. That's the edge that's gonna win you the game, not sending Max V. Don't get
Mm.
me wrong, it's nice if you can do both, of course, but you don't need it. And then as for the third Max V, that's pretty much for any fatigable matchup, right? So like that's like to the Earth Heroes, that's gonna come into like Jarl, Victor, Kasai, pretty much any warriors. Maybe not Dory. That's kind of iffy. It depends on if they're Dawnblade or not.
Yeah. If you
Um,
know they're Dawnblade, usually they're just gonna try to race you.
exactly. So yeah, any matchup where I'm bringing in usually the whole deck, or anywhere between like 70 to 72,
Mm.
I'm bringing the third.
Okay.
Because now I have more deck to like be less likely to draw 2 in a hand. And if I do still in these, I have the time to like block with 1 and arsenal 1 type thing and not get
Mm-hmm.
super punished, right?
Yeah.
So
I
that's the
see
main
that
reason.
you're running like a lean 60 just in your main board. Are you always
Correct.
like running 60, or are you sometimes running 64, or
It depends on the matchup, right? So
yeah.
like full aggro, right?
Yeah.
Like I said, kind of like Syndra, Mirror. So Syndra, Mirror, Kano. Um, I might be missing a deck or two. Those are the ones where I'm running lean 60 because
Okay.
there is no way in any world whatsoever they're ever fatiguing me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna kill them before they fatigue me,
Bye.
they're gonna kill and Fi, or they're
Mm-hmm.
gonna kill me before I fatigue them, right? Like
Yeah.
that's never happening. So I want to run a lean 60 so I can see my red booms, my cerebellums off the top, right? That's the more chances I get to do that, or the higher likelihood of doing that,
Mm.
the higher the chances that I win the game, right?
Yeah.
Um, then you start getting into like the more mid-rangey decks, like Fang. Um, what are some of the ones that I played this past weekend where I would do that?
Assassins kind of. Well, I
Well,
would say like
Assassin I'd run.
Mario. Mario's
Into
more
most assassins,
mid-rangey.
into most assassins just because they can do so much deck damage. I
Mm.
would still probably run 70 to 72,
Would you say the same for Slippy?
probably.
Mm.
Um, that one's closer. Slippy, I might run 64. It
Yeah.
depends on like how well I know the player. If I
Yeah.
um, like I know Fang is like because I played a couple of Fangs this weekend. Fang, for example, that's one of the decks I'm running 64
Yeah.
because, and that one is mainly just because I want to put in the outpaces. Like
Mm.
outpace
Yeah.
kills. I love playing outpaces against all the warriors, all the guardians, everyone. Right? Like outpace is
Yeah.
nuts in those against those decks. So like into Fang, I'll play the 3 outpaces plus add in the third backup red.
Okay.
Um, so usually when I'm adding 64, I'm adding those 4 cards. I'm
That
adding
makes
the third
sense. Yeah.
backup red and then the 3 outpaces.
Okay.
And then usually if I'm adding any more than that, I'm just adding usually the rest of the deck. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
except for Signal Jammer, unless like Signal Jammer matters in that matchup. So in like the pile matchups, right? So like your Guardians, your Earth Heroes, some of the Warriors, I'm running 71.
Okay, and you're just not running Signal Jammer. So Signal
Yeah.
Jammer is there mainly for, I assume, Aelia and Kano.
Well, so the way that I always explain it is like it's there.
Hmm.
I will never put in Signal Jammer. Like once Azalea LLs, Signal Jammer will not be in the deck. Period.
Okay.
No questions asked. It will not be in the deck. It's in there for Azalea.
Mm.
However, it just happens to be good in Kano as well.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So I'm like, why not run into Kano when I have it?
Yeah.
Granted, in round 2 of the PQ Plus, I played against the Kano, and he let me resolve a spark without Kanoing or anything, and I had the opportunity to get Signal Jammer, but because of Dampener, I didn't have to. Right?
Yeah.
I
No,
went,
Dampener's super good versus him. So
so I just like got like just another gas card.
yeah.
I think I either got like a Cerebellum or a Red Boom, and just kept going at face.
Yeah.
Because if the issue was if I get Signal Jammer, it ends my turn. That's part of the reason why I don't like it. I don't want you can't crank it right. So
Yeah.
that's why I only run 1, if any. My most recent list after the PQ, I actually took Signal Jammer out of the deck entirely. Because it's it's kind of like the 79th, 80th card in the deck. It's not like
Hmm.
super important.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah,
Yeah,
um,
I've personally never really been on Signal Jammer, but I also
yeah.
like I've never really had problems with Aelia before. Like I've gotten
Uh,
read the ledger like 3 times in a single game and still won. Like it's just
yeah. I mean,
I
I mean, you can absolutely win the game. Or it just it depends on how big the red and the ledgers are, right?
yeah.
You know, if they send 3 for 14, then you're kind of like, oh,
Oh well,
yeah,
yeah.
I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
I'm not doing anything, and I'm taking a million damage, right? Like that's if it's dominated, right? Like Dio,
Mm,
can for the most part block decently well. So
yeah.
like if it's not dominated, right, you can always just like give 2 cards and just like play an item and pass or something.
Yeah.
Like you have play against it. Don't get me wrong, but I've just like I guess maybe it's because I've been high rolled by Azaleas in the past, but like going like red into red, like you just like those games are
Yeah.
like unwinnable.
It
It's
does
like
suck.
so like
It does definitely suck, but I just
um
don't feel like I lose versus Azalea very much. I don't know.
yeah. I also granted, I mean Azalea's gonna be gone soon anyways,
She
so like
is, yeah. She's
I'm
got
not
that
super worried.
1.5 multiplier nowadays. Get
Exactly.
out of here. Her and
Yep.
Kano both can get out of here.
Well, the thing is, actually, like, I'm kind of sad Kano's leaving. I love the Kano matchup.
I
Like,
lose against Kano all the time. I don't know.
I, dude, so like, I played round two was the Kano game,
Yeah.
and I won 34-0. It wasn't
Holy
close
shit.
because the issue is right. The second that I flip up dampener, they're like, oh, I guess I need a double wildfire turn to beat you.
Yeah.
So they start blocking. Right? The second they start blocking, I tap out happily. I'm like, I'm just going.
Yes.
I'm sending my entire hand at face, and they run too many non-blocks for it to
Yep.
matter, right?
Yeah.
So like they're trying to block me out, but I'm like playing a lean 60, so I'm seeing all of my gas. I'm playing all of my items off the top, cranking all my items off the top, giving them zero room to keep any cards because if not, they're taking 25.
Yeah.
So there's just dampener has like made that like a 90%er for me, in my opinion at least.
Okay, well I've never
Card
played
is nuts.
Dampener. I've never had Dampener on a list before, so that's
I
probably
mean,
why I lose.
if you're especially if you're going to I don't know if you're going to go to Nats or not. If you're playing Dio at Nats, highly recommend you run Dampener. A
Mm.
lot of people are talking about Kano being B diff, or a lot of people playing Kano, and Dampener is going to make that matchup free. I
That's the
love
that's the
Dampener.
that's the tech right there where everybody
Yeah,
listen
and
up.
that's the funny part is like people thought Dampener was like, oh, why'd they print that card? It's so dumb. It
Mm.
literally makes Kano like free. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I kind of want to like think about one of those things that you said about maximum velocity that you never want to draw two in the same hand.
Yeah,
But you do have 3 Teklo cores in your list.
yeah.
I don't really get the idea behind the 3 Teklo cores because drawing 2 Teklo cores is just worse than drawing 2 max Vs, I feel like.
Well,
Maybe not, it
yeah,
is a
yes,
blue, but it
exactly.
doesn't
So
block.
it's yes and no, right? Like I don't think I can ever like I know you're not the only one that does it now. There's quite a few people that have done that are doing it now where
Hmm.
they've cut down to two. I don't know if I could ever do that
Yeah.
personally because like even like Teklo cores are like so vital to your big turns,
Yes.
right? Like your double max V turns, you literally can't do them without Teklo core.
Yeah.
Or usually I should say. You can't say never with this deck. This deck can do some stupid stuff.
Yeah.
um But like if I draw a double Teklo core hand, usually the one I have will be to pitch, right? So let's say I have 2 Teklo cores and like 2 1 costs, right? I'm just gonna go boost, pitching the Teklo core and then ending on Teklo core, right? Like it's not the worst thing because you're still pressuring, so quote unquote, right? You're still sending damage and then still ending your turn on a core.
Yeah.
It's not like the best turn cycle, don't get me wrong, but it's
But
set
it
up in
makes
this
your next turn cycle.
exactly. So I mean, it's
Yeah.
like the fact you're able to like send, let's say it's just like send 7 or send 8, and then end on a setup piece, always
Mm.
feels pretty decent to me.
Yeah.
Into aggro, I could see cutting like down one onto aggro,
Hmm.
maybe putting in just like an outpace or something.
Yeah.
But then it gets scary because like right at 20 blues feels really good. Like cutting a blue
Yeah.
can be
That's
scary. I mean,
that's I was gonna ask that too. Is like the blue count here. We've got a only
well,
20. It seems a little low. Like, cause
well,
at one point I was at 18 and I was like, okay, I'm not really doing what I need to do.
yeah.
So then I'm
So
I'm up to 21 now.
yeah. So I was at 21.
Hmm.
I know that there's some people. I think the reason why I'm comfortable on 20 is because
Hmm.
I'm assuming I think you're also on the same layout. Is I'm also on 12 yellows.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, right. So like those yellows are theoretically blues in this deck. So like it doesn't. I've never felt. I mean, okay, maybe not never, but like it doesn't feel bad when like I start my turn off pitching a yellow, and Foundry Hearts this is the way to solve the turn.
Yep.
However, even with 20 blues and 12 yellows, I'm still drawing all red hands, and those hands can like lose you games. So like, I've definitely debated on like adding back up to 21. Um, However, at least I do have 4 blues in the side, right? So like whenever I'm fat stacking, at least I'm on 24 or on
Yeah.
23 if I'm not doing the signal jammer. Um, so like 23 feels amazing.
Yeah.
Especially when you're adding cards. But yeah, 20, I know I'm like running kind of slim here. And what's funny is at 20, I still feel like I'm on the higher end compared to like some DIOs. I know there's some DIOs that are like on like 16,
Oh, that's
and
insane. No, I
I don't know
mean,
how I don't know how your
you
deck can
could do that
function
if
at
everything is
16.
zero. If you're just playing all the zero head jabs, basically.
I
But
guess, but like now you're like super fatigable at that
yeah.
point, right?
Oh, yeah. Definitely. It's like,
So
oh, my 2 card 3 coming at you.
right, exactly. So I don't know. 20. I mean, with how the deck ran on Sunday, I didn't have a single all red hand that lost me the game.
Okay.
I think I maybe had 2 the whole day.
Okay, that's pretty good. Yeah.
And usually and like one of them I had a Teklo core out, so it didn't matter.
Hmm.
And then the other one it was like 3 of them were 0 cost boosts, right? So like actually one of them um I feel so bad. This is kind of like a shout out to Rose. So in the PQ Plus round 6, there's 3 undefeateds left. It's me, Rose, and a Phi. And Rose and I pair. And I win die roll, so I get to go first. And I have a decent setup turn. I set up a backup red, no crank, and a Teklo core. And I arsenal a max V. And this is one of those turns where this is one of those hands where I draw an all red hand, but it was
You got to
0 to
test up for
60, 0 to 60, Fast and Furious, Fast and Furious.
it.
And
Oh no.
the funny part is there's a blue on top of my deck, and
Oh my
I have
god.
a backup red in play,
Yeah.
right? So the first attack she sends, I give crown. I
Yeah.
bottom away
Oh
one of
no.
and I grab a blue. So my first real turn of the game, I double max V Rose.
Oh my
I
god.
felt because like I have 0 cost boost, 0 cost boost, 0 cost boost with 6 resources off of Foundry Heart. So it was like perfect resource curve.
Oh
It
my
was
god.
disgusting. I
Yeah,
even saw a
here's
Cerebellum off the top. So
Oh
I'm
no,
able to
no.
like so I'm able to set up. Granted, it didn't matter because it just drew me another pitch card, right, to like send the turn. But now I still also have a Cerebellum in play for the following turn.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like
Oh my god.
it
It's like
was
here's turn 1,
disgusting.
here's 54% of your life total.
Yeah, literally. So
Yeah.
I'm able to send a 5 card 32 at Rose.
Jesus. Jesus.
Um,
That's yeah, that's insane.
yeah, and
Yeah,
so yeah,
that's the
it was rough.
Dio mirror.
Yeah. No, we were talking about it beforehand. We are like, we sit down and she's like, "Do you hate this mirror?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, the worst mirror. It's just like who high rolls first." And she's like, "Okay, great. I'm glad we're on the same page." um, uh, and unfortunately for her, it ended up mattering because so she wins her last game, and then in top 8, her top 8 game was into a new,
Oh no.
and
Was it
mine
the
was
new
into
that
Victor. Yeah, it
was
was
it
the new
the
that one that like
mm,
me and that split with me.
yeah.
So I felt bad. I mean, it. Don't get me. I mean, I guess I can't feel bad, but
That's
like
the luck of the draw,
it sucks.
yeah.
It just
Yeah.
sucked seeing her pair into the only new. And granted, it's not like I paired into an easy matchup, right? Victor isn't easy, but
Yeah.
it's
It's definitely
I'd
easier
rather
than
play
new.
a Victor than a new. Yeah,
Oh, 100% every
100%.
day.
Um,
So earlier you said that you like kind of came from poker a little bit.
yeah,
Does that come with like this idea of like your percentages and kind of playing to your outs like really well? Are you kind of minded that way, like what
oh
your
yeah.
blue percentage is, what your item percentage is? Are you counting throughout the game like here's how many items I've seen, here's how many cards I have left, here's the percentage of my outs here. Are you doing that?
So into like more fatigue oriented matchups, yeah,
Yeah.
100%. I'm at least keeping track. I'm keeping track of 2 main things when it comes to items. One is power items, which how many power items do I have left, right? Where are my yellow, my red boom grenades, and my cerebellums? Those are like the
Okay.
main power items, right? And then the second thing is how many crank items do I have left in the deck?
Yes.
Because that'll matter a ton, especially when you're getting to late game. Any extra pistol shots can matter, or just even be able to send an attack without like going attack without boosting can also matter, especially if you like the top card of your deck. You know, little things like that. So that I'm always kind of tracking that. And then the other thing when it comes to like playing to my outs, there have been plenty of games where like it's kind of lost, and I'm like the only way, or not necessarily lost, but like I'm on the back foot. And if the game just kind of keeps going the way it's going, I'm gonna get fatigued, right? So like
Yeah.
I will. There's been multiple games where I'll like my only out is just to draw off of Cerebellum and hope there's an item, right? Like there's been multiple fatigue type games where
Yeah.
I've had to do that. Like I'd rather lose that way than just like lose because I know I'm gonna get fatigued.
And are you
And like
keeping
that's
track
the
of like the
turn.
exact percentage of like this is my out? I have like a
Yeah,
15% chance, or like
I won't.
less
Yeah,
cards in
I'll
deck.
just
It'll be
know.
like what at
Yeah,
what percentage would you say that that's a worth it play to do?
well, it depends on like the scenario of the game, right?
Yeah, it depends,
You know,
Tino.
so like let's say I have 15 cards left in deck and they're still at like 18, and like I
Yeah.
need to get a boom grenade. Like the red boom grenade I have in play has to hit this turn. If it's
Yes.
because it would I remove the steam counter so that it doesn't have a steam counter on it, it's gonna die next turn. And if
Hmm.
it doesn't hit, I am gonna get fatigued. I just
Yeah.
don't have the gas left in my deck. I at that point I don't care how many crank items left I have, I'm gonna do it because that's
Okay.
just the only out.
Yeah.
However, if it's earlier in the game, right, I'm less likely to take such a big risk, right? Like
Yes.
if it's like 20% of my deck is still crankable items, or even like less, even slightly less, maybe like 18%, maybe like I have 30 cards. If 12 of them are crankable items, I'm gonna do it. If it's gonna win me the game, or if it's gonna, or if I'm gonna like lose
It's
the
like a
game.
46% chance. It's not bad.
So like there's there's a lot of different plays you can do
Yeah.
earlier in the game when you have a lot. Like I'm less likely to take those risks earlier in the game, and usually I'm only taking these risks in like the fatigue matchups, right? In aggro, because your deck is lean and you're running only the good cards, you're less likely to need to make these kinds of plays.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's kind of like my logic on that.
Would you say that you're an aggressive poker player, or would you say you're more
Yeah,
passive?
no, I lean more aggressive.
You lean more
Yeah,
aggressive? Okay. Just
100%.
wondering. I mean, I feel like anybody who plays Dio probably leans more aggressive, just in general.
Yeah,
Somebody who likes that kind of like having to play to your outs like that. Like maybe
absolutely.
having to take some really weird lines that definitely don't look right at the time, but it's like you said, like if this red boom grenade doesn't hit and you're at 18 out of 14 cards left, like I lose no matter
Yeah,
what. Like
exactly.
it is kind of nice like being able to do that, because there are many times where it's like I'll just pick up my deck and count it and just be like,
Oh,
okay,
100%.
you're at 15, I have 25 cards left, I'm looking okay. Like
Yeah,
this game is very winnable at this point. If I
absolutely.
take one turn where I don't like present a good amount of damage, then I'm probably not okay anymore. So
Exactly.
you kind of have to like know like when and where to actually like go hard, especially in those like fatigue matchups. And like a Syndra,
Absolutely.
I never count my deck. It's like it
No,
it never
no way.
comes up. Syndra
It will never.
Fi, like it
Exactly.
never comes up, so it doesn't really matter very much. But
Yep.
alluding to something that you were talking about earlier with people talking about maybe Kano being the best deck in the format, how does that kind of like go for Dio going into this Nat season that we're looking at?
Um, Personally, I actually think Dio is in one of the better spots it's been in since the high octane ban.
Yeah.
Um, I am on the boat of I am likely taking Dio to Nats.
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna have to like probably make some like slight modifications to like really optimize the deck. But like you beat Kano, and a lot of people, tons of people are talking about how Kano's gonna be best deck in format.
Okay.
A lot of people now, or not best deck, but like up there, right? Top
Yeah.
two type, top three deck. That same along with Prism, right? Like Prism, everyone's saying, especially because she beats Kano, right? Everyone's like
Yes.
Prism and Kano are gonna be like the meta.
Okay.
And what does Dio do? She beats both of them,
He does beat
right?
both of them. Yeah.
So like at least when it comes to just that, Dio sounds theoretically like a great pick.
Yeah.
Um, the other thing that I really am liking is now with all these Earthman, and it also depends on like because they're saying they banned Germinate because there's going to be some other card that's going to be really good for Florian.
Yeah.
We'll see what this card is and what it does because
And if people
that
can
card,
even get
right? That's also true.
it.
So there's there's a world where like Florian might be popular at Nats as well because this card is so good.
Yeah.
And that might be like some points against Dio, right? Because that matchup hasn't felt great ever.
No. Yeah.
It's still winnable. Don't get me wrong, but so I think it's a combination of hopefully this card isn't insane. This new Earth card for Florian isn't insane, and if Florian stocks are down, like Verdance, I think Verdance is more beatable like Earth Hero
Verdance
than
is very beatable.
than
Yeah. She
Florian.
runs a lot of 2 blocks.
Yeah, and so like the Verdance I played, for example, in Hartford, no, of course they ran their fair share of 2 blocks, but they also kind of tried to like race me with arcane damage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if they try to do that, the game's like free, in my opinion,
Yes.
because
Yes.
their 4 card 9 doesn't compare to my 4 card 20, right?
Yeah.
Like so that part it also depends on the Verdance player, because like I know of like I have a couple buddies that play Verdance, and like they have a sideboard for Dio just so they can put in cards that block,
Yeah.
right? Like
That makes
so
sense.
um but yeah, so like I think the big things are Kano, Prism, best deck. Dio beats those. Florian
Okay.
stock hopefully going down, right? So that means less likely to see Florian. Verdant stock might go up, um, but you beat Verdance at a higher rate than you do Florian.
Oh,
Um,
definitely. I mean, if it's not 50-50, I don't know. I would call Verdance like I feel like every game that I've played against Verdance, I feel like I've gone 50-50 into like out
yeah,
of all of my pro quests that I played, I feel like I've played like 4 or 5. I
sure,
might have won 3, I might have won 2. Like I feel
sure,
like
yeah.
it's a
I'd say it's like
pretty
right there. Yeah.
yeah.
If they try to race you, it's free. If they try to fatigue you, those are like the harder ones.
Yeah, definitely.
And then um, I don't know how popular like Jarl will be. I also think Guardians, because of these new Prism card, I think Guardian stock will go down.
Yeah.
Um, so because like now, part of the reason to play Guardian was because you beat Prism.
Mm,
Um, or like the current version of Prism. But like now with this new card, you kind of don't. It kind of gives her more play into Guardian.
yeah.
So like I can see like Guardian stock being down. I could see Warrior stock kind of being up because people are really on Kasai
People are really on Fang right now. I mean, Fang
and
had
Fang,
Fang had
and
what the fourth most wins this last week for
yeah. So
PQs,
like
so he's kind of coming up.
Fang and Kasai also feel really good for Dio, in my opinion.
I agree. I think Fang is like free, honestly. Like
Yeah,
if they try
well,
to
so
race, it's free. But
if Fang,
Kasai
oh,
seems
100%.
harder.
If they
Yeah,
try to race, free,
yeah,
literally unlosable.
yeah.
I've played against a Fang who like almost fatigued me just because he like took out all his non-blocks, put in more D reacts.
Oh yeah,
That's like the one way that they can win. So like
I've been
that's why I kind
fatigued
of
by
hedge into Fang.
Fang. Yeah,
I can kind of hedge and put in the outpaces. Um, Kasai kind of feels free because, well, not free, but it feels good because
yeah.
they're on this like more aggro, like with all the draw swords, so they kind of want to race you.
Yeah. They don't really have
Which
cards that they can block with. Like it's not like the old like warrior logic of like okay, block 2 cards, swing back 2 cards. It's
right,
like, oh, I kind of want to keep my whole hand cuz like I need this blue and this blue to like be able to play
exactly,
everything.
exactly.
So, and also they're playing I now, which is like okay,
It's another
it's a
non-block.
non-block.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So like assassin can always be scary, especially I mean new worst matchup for the deck, but then you kind of have your Slippies and Mario's, and like Slippy, I think if especially because they usually tend to be more aggro,
Oh,
you can kind of
definitely.
win that aggro race.
Yeah.
Dagger Mario is a little scarier in my opinion,
Hmm.
because I think they can do more damage than a Slippy can. Like
Really?
Dagger Mario, the numbers
Dang.
that deck can put out is nuts.
Okay.
Um, so that I'm when it comes to Assassin, of course, don't want to see any news, but I'm happy seeing Slippies, and I'm like 50-50 on Mario's.
Okay.
Um,
Interesting. I'd rather see Mario's than Slippies, honestly, but I just don't think Mario's a very good deck. It's like I don't know. Anytime like they're the other thing that isn't
sure.
Mario, their deck feels
Yeah.
so bad. But like whenever they are like their base, like it's either
Yeah.
that or Black Widow. It's like anytime they're anything besides that or Black Widow, like I feel like I'm winning the game.
That's fair.
Um,
That's fair.
yeah,
Yeah. I've seen like firsthand. I've played with a decent amount of people that like are either testing the deck
yeah.
or or like know people that are testing the Mario like dagger deck in particular,
Hmm.
and like the deck can do some really stupid damage.
Yeah, I feel
Um,
like we have a
'Cause all
bunch
those
of
+4
Slippies around
combos.
here. Everyone's kind
Oh
of
yeah.
gone off of Mario, off of New into Slippy.
Sure.
I mean, like my last, like the pro quest that I casted for was like, I think there were like 24 people or something, and there were like 9 slippies. It was insane. It
Wow.
was it was like almost
Yeah.
all slippy, just
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
day
Yeah.
long. But I kind of want to talk about something that we have been talking about a lot, but we haven't like actually dove in on it. But
Sure.
like this idea of the outpaces being in the sideboard, I feel
Yeah.
like that's like probably the second best 1 for 4 that we have right now. So what's the idea behind that being in the sideboard over something else, basically?
Um. So I personally I think it's like I guess technically the third best 1 for 4. I would put yellow zipper hit over outpace
Okay.
personally.
Okay.
Just because it pitches as well, right?
It
Like
does, yeah.
having the flexibility with yellow zipper hit makes it I think better than
Mhm.
outpace. But that's like splitting hairs, right?
Yeah,
Nothing
yeah,
crazy
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Um, I just it kind of goes back to like if I'm playing an aggro race, like I want to have like the most efficient cards into those decks as possible. So I've like I'm looking at my list right now. I don't even know what I would cut to put in the red outpaces because I want all my zero cost boosts, right?
Yeah.
I want to be able to send a max V a lot easier than not, right?
Yeah.
So like I'd rather have my sprockets and my T-bones.
Yeah.
I guess you can make I guess you could like make an argument for cutting throttle.
That's what I would have
Um,
said was like I would cut the throttles honestly. But
but
like
the
you
reason I
said, you
like
want to be as efficient as possible.
right,
So the throttle is like a 2 for 6 go again is the most efficient that you can get like
oh,
in this game
I
at
think
this
I'm gonna
point. So yeah, with the throttle, I feel like that is the most efficient thing that you can be doing. Like a 2 for 6 go again, and that's like what you said is that you just want to be as efficient as possible.
yep.
Um
There
so
are also part of it too with the throttles is there are certain aggro matchups where I'm gonna run Gauntlet over adaptive plating,
hmm,
and it gives me another Gauntlet target, right?
interesting. So what aggro matchups are you playing Gauntlet for?
Uh, Fang, I'm probably gonna run a Gauntlet into,
Really? Over a plating?
100%, because they're not
Mm,
killing me, right?
okay.
Like there's no world where Fang can outrace me,
Okay.
so I'd rather hedge for the fatigue Fang,
Hmm. That,
right?
I agree. That makes a lot of
Like
sense. I don't think I've ever done that
free
before, but
life, I don't think is gonna ever matter in that matchup.
mm-hmm.
Because if they're winning, they're like they likely either Giga High Rolled, got 3 fealty turn 0, and I'm just kind of and then they just like had insane hands and just
Yeah.
kind of killed me that way, or they boarded in D reacts and they tried to fatigue me, right? So like that's one where like I'll rather play the Gauntlet.
Okay.
Um, Fi Syndra, I'm gonna play plating,
Yeah.
especially Syndra, right? Syndra, of
Especially
course, always playing
Syndra, yeah.
plating.
Syndra
Um,
honestly makes me want to play the block boots too. Like
Yeah, so
find space for that.
I originally did have both boots in the deck, and I
Mm-hmm.
actually it wasn't for Syndra, it was for Prism. Because it lets you block a red Triumph
Very good versus
without
Prism too.
popping
Yep.
one, right? So I that's something where I've debated it, right? And looking at the deck now, I could probably find space
Yeah.
if especially if fatigue isn't as prevalent, right? Like the blue,
Yes.
you don't need the blue hyper scrapper, you don't need 3 pounders, so like you can find room for more tech cards, right? Like I know Rose is big on like the Gauntlet, the Stonewall Gauntlet for Azealia in particular. Little things like that, right? You can probably find
Azalea.
space
And
if
also if Syndra and Fire popular. There's a lot of people doing
exactly.
like this the Rake the Embers
Yeah,
lines with that, and Stonewall Gauntlet just destroys Fi
and
and
also
Azalea.
it also
Spreading
destroys
Flames.
the Wrath turn
Yeah,
for
Wrath
Syndra, right?
turns,
Like
Spreading
their dagger for 2 is
Flames.
now their dagger for 1.
So yeah, the Stonewall Gauntlet does do like a lot against like the ninjas in particular.
Oh yeah.
Azalea, like how much does it really do versus it blocks for 2 versus Azalea?
Well, I know her logic is
Mm,
she'll run adaptive in the feet and she can like reliably block one big red with just shoving armor in a card.
yeah.
Um, I don't know if that might be a little niche, but if you have the space for it, I don't see why not.
I mean, if we're expecting a lot of Azalea to be there, like if you're expecting a lot of Florian, then you should expect a lot of Azalea. If you're
Yeah,
expecting a lot of Kano, then you should expect a lot of Prism too.
exactly.
So I feel like then we should kind of like hedge our bets to see like what actually is going to be there, because I don't know. I've heard of Kano being the best deck in the format many times since I've played this
Sure,
game,
absolutely. Yeah, that's fair.
and it's just like people won't play Kano. It's just like Dio. Like
Yeah, yeah.
people just won't play the deck if they because everyone's like,
everyone's scared of variance, right?
well, it's just like I don't know how to play that deck. I don't want to learn how to play that deck because it takes a lot of reps, and it's like, yeah, it does, but
Yeah.
if you're a good player, you could figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um. So
One
yeah,
other
it's
thing,
just.
actually,
Hmm,
you were talking about for Nats.
hmm.
I also think Dio, from what we've seen, granted we haven't seen everything yet, but I think she has a good matchup into all three of the new heroes.
Yeah, we will see about that.
I think
So
the only hero that scares me of the three is Puffin. If they build her, if she's built like mid-rangey with D-reacts, she can in theory fatigue Dio.
yeah,
Cause she'll have a fridge with like double plating. She can even run Foundry Heart, right? Just for block.
yeah.
So like that matchup is a little scary, but like you just like I don't think Gravy Bones has any chance of winning that game.
So
And
like,
then
if we have
Marlin, I
to
think, just
attack,
outpace.
the dudes, then that matchup's doomed for us. If we don't
Yeah. Oh
have
no,
to
you
attack
just go
them,
at face. I think you just kind of go at face the whole game.
yeah, I'm hoping that it doesn't just accrue enough value to where it's like, okay,
Yeah.
now I gain a life, gain a life, gain a life, hit you for 6, hit you for 4, or something like
Sure,
that.
that's
And
fair.
it's
I mean,
like, ugh.
I feel like if you're killing, I don't think it's doomed if you're killing like one every couple. Like if you just like kill like the most impact, if there's one
Yeah,
that's gonna win them the game, I'll happily throw a throttle at it.
yeah.
Because
Well, they
now
have
they
one
have to
that's
like
pretty much
reset
ALS
up,
too.
huh?
They have one that's pretty much ALS, which is like
Yeah,
another. That's like very not good for us. But
yeah,
I don't know. It's gonna take some testing to see like,
absolutely,
okay, can I just blow you up because you run 20 no blocks in your deck? It's like,
exactly,
dang, we like CYB because they were running 9 no blocks, and it's like
exactly,
now that you're
exactly.
running 20, okay,
Yeah. So
and a bunch of block twos.
I kind of think Gravy's free. I also think Marlin just can't race you
Hmm.
at the current in its current iteration. Um, So yeah, that was something I wanted to mention when you brought up Nats. That was just something else I
Yeah.
wanted to kind of point out.
Unless she is like as disruptive as she seems. I mean, they do run the boat CNC, the
Yeah,
pirate ship one. So I
that's
mean that
fair.
card's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean,
And she's got
Crown
a
of
bunch of
Providence is
like
busted,
Thoughtseize
so like,
effects. Yeah, Crown of Providence is great. I do love that card.
it's dude. I think that's my favorite card in Dia.
Yeah.
Knowing what you're gonna draw. Oh my god, it's so disgusting.
I've
That's
like
like a
seen so many people
routine.
who like don't play Dio, and it's like I'm looking at the top, and it's like and then I just shove Crown in front of something, and then they're like, that card's so
Yeah,
good.
it's
Yeah.
nuts. It's so nuts.
Whenever you
So
see
nuts.
Dio, it's like no on hits, no nothing, like no on hits, no
And
go
they're blocking
again,
with Crown.
and then you put Crown in front of it, and you put a card from your hand. It's like, oh fuck,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
about to die.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's
Oh,
nuts. It's
yeah,
nuts.
I love that card.
My favorite thing in the world, you crown a way to like draw like a max fee, and then there's an item as the next card.
Oh
That's like,
yeah,
oh my
that's
god,
that's why I love this
that's
deck.
yeah, the feeling of like, oh, it's so like the my all my neurons activating, and
The
it's so
dopamine
fun.
rush.
Yeah,
For sure. But I actually want to talk about one of my favorite cards in the deck that you're not running at all, and that's Heist. So like,
yeah,
why are we not running any Heists? We actually have the two twin drives in the sideboard over a Heist.
correct.
I want to
Yeah,
talk about this little
yeah.
dichotomy here.
So um, okay, I this is all personal opinion, of course. I think Heist is not a great card in the current meta. I will say, if it gets more aggressive, Heist is nuts, right?
Yeah.
If I'm able to, if I'm able to like reliably hit with Heist and have targets, like yeah, sign me up. I will 100% run at least two, probably three. Um, the thing is, if I were to cut Heist, right, the two cards I'm likely, the contenders are the Twin Drives, the Outpaces, and the Throttles, right? Those are the cards that I'm going to cut.
Yeah.
I automatically rule out Throttle because one, it's a popper, and two, I like having a guaranteed 2 for 6 over a 2 for 5. So that's not going. Then you have Outpace, and Outpace is just kind of nuts into like fatigue style heroes. Um, so that card I probably, and it's also just I'd rather send a 1 for 4 than a 2 for 5. Um, and then the last one is Twin Drive. In Twin Drive, you can absolutely argue, but my logic for not running Heist is right. Every time I'm sending Heist, it's just always getting blocked,
Yeah, that's
right?
what I
Like,
love about it.
well, but the thing is, if you're into like fatigue heroes, they
Mhm.
don't care.
No,
They were gonna
that's
block
true.
anyways, right?
Yeah.
They were gonna block anyways. So they don't care putting two cards or putting a card in equipment in front of Heist every single time. the other thing I don't like about Heist is, especially into like fatigue heroes, is there are going to be many times where you just don't have a target and you're banished to get. That's the other issue I have with it. If you're sending it early, you're likely not able to have you're likely not going to have a target. Because especially into fatigue, you don't want to banish that many items, right? The goal is to kind of play out as many as you can. That's how you kind of set up your big turns. So that's my main excuse me, that's my main reasoning for not running it, at least into like the fatigue style heroes.
Mhm.
Then you look at aggro. That's kind of where the card shines, is in aggro, right? Because in aggro, you're going to be foundry harding every turn. You're going to be boosting away without a care in the world, and you're likely going to have targets, right?
Yeah.
You're going to have your yellow boom grenades and your whatever, your backup reds, whatever the case might be. You're going to have targets, but you already kind of beat those decks. So I don't need to have 2 or 3 heist in my deck to hedge for aggro when I'm already kind of the best aggro deck,
Yeah.
right? So I'm putting 3 cards in that I don't want to run into aggro because it's less value. And oh, sorry, let me kind of start that over. I'm running 3 cards that I kind of don't want to run into aggro because they're always going to block it and they don't care to block it. They were going to anyways. And then I do want to run an aggro, but I don't need to. So
Okay.
it just kind of feels like a weird middle ground where I'd rather have the twin drives, right? Like, and I know twin drive is kind of a contentious card, right? Because you're banishing 2 cards
Yeah.
on play, so like it's a lot of deck damage
Yeah.
into an aggro into like a fatigue deck, but still sending like a 4 card 19 or a 4 card 18 still feels pretty good even into fatigue,
Certainly. Yeah.
right? Like the Kasai I played in top 4, it was like a 7-turn game and I sent 3 max Vs. And
That's
I
yeah.
was able to send the 4th one because I drew a natty max V hand. It was twin drive, blue, T-bone, max V, right?
Yep.
And if that twin drive is a heist, that turns kind of okay, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. That's kind of why I still lean twin drive. Um, but like I said, we'll see if fatigue kind of gets pushed to the side. Those twin drives could absolutely be heists.
Yeah.
Um, and then I'll have to kind of finagle it to make the heist main board because to have a clean 60 with heist, which I don't think will be too hard to do. But I just think in the current state of the meta, where like especially at Hartford, where Florin was going to be a very popular deck,
Definitely.
Burdens was going to be a popular deck, Jarl and like was kind of going to be like a decently ish popular deck ish.
Mhm.
Heist just kind of felt like a do nothing 2 for 5.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so that I've always kind of been passionate about Heist because I know I'm like one of the few DIO players that doesn't like the card, at least right now.
Yeah.
Um, but I feel like I have like a good reason for it. It's not like I don't
Mhm.
run it just to not run it, right?
Oh, I
Like
mean, like
you know,
you've won PQs, you're getting to the top 8 of PQ pluses and everything. Yeah, I think
um,
that you have good reasons for running all of these things. So that's
okay,
why I'm asking, because it's just like, huh.
sure.
The no
Um,
heist idea is kind of interesting. But
yeah,
like my favorite thing about heist is the secret text on it that says they block with 2 cards. And it's like
yeah,
that,
sure,
like this gets 2 cards is like
yeah,
honestly kind of like the thing about it that I do really like. It's like, oh
sure,
wow, like maybe they go like they even let a boom grenade hit or something. It's like, oh shit, like boom grenade and then like another
sure,
boost card and then it's like heist. It's like
sure.
if I
I
don't
guess
block
you.
this.
I mean, I can absolutely see it. Like and actually, I'm really glad you brought this up because at the PQ Plus, Rose and I talked about this, right? So like
Mm.
we had our game and it lasted a whole 3 minutes because I blew her up in 10 seconds. I still feel bad about it, but we now have 50 minutes to just chat. So we're chatting, and I told her one of the big differences between our decks is I don't run heist,
Mm.
and she was kind of surprised by it, and I also realized she was running it into me, and which makes sense, right? I think the whole point of heist, in my opinion, is to run it into aggro.
Yeah.
But I can see what you're saying though, right? Like it's not like fatigue decks are not always just gonna block you out the whole game, right? They're gonna sometimes keep 2 cards to send disruption,
Yes.
right? And that's where heist can be really punishing. So
Mm.
kind of what heist, sorry, not heist, sorry, that's kind of what Rose was saying is she thinks of heist as like max V's 4 through 6, right? You send your turn and then you end on a heist. They've already given you
Yes.
cards, right? Like they've blocked your 0 to 60 with a card and a piece of equipment. Then they
Yep.
blocked your zipper hit with 2 cards. Then they blocked your other zipper hit with 2 cards. And now you Foundry Heart and send heist. And now they're out of cards. So like
Yes.
they're either gonna give you like awkward armor block, or like, you know, maybe they still had a card and they have to give you card and still armor they didn't want to give you. Like you're putting them in awkward spots with blocking.
Yeah.
If you like, that's like your finisher. So like I can see that argument 100%.
Mm-hmm.
I just still feel like I'd rather just like send 6 max Vs than send 3 max Vs and 3 heists. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
It's
mean, that's the thing with the, especially like with the convection amplifier. Like the convection amplifier is always a heist for 7 dominate. Like
right,
that's
exactly.
yeah,
That's fair. I mean, and so actually, when I first played the deck, my favorite line was BIOS update, heist for 8 dominate, go again. That was
yeah,
like my favorite line in the game.
yeah.
Especially into fatigue, late game, they're out of fridge. You're gonna get, and you know, that was before Cerebellum, right? So you mean, but whatever, I'm gonna get a boom grenade, I'm gonna get a backup red, whatever the case might be.
Yeah.
Um, that was like my favorite line. No longer on BIOS update because, you know, BIOS update and max V don't play well together.
They do not. No,
Um,
they do not.
and I've fully become a you know, max V deck. But yeah, you know, I know it's, you know, something that I'll always kind of be contentious on, is like heist or not, but at least for now, I'm off of heist.
Yeah.
But like I said, if everything's starting to become more aggro, if especially if maybe like Gravy pushes out fatigue decks, he kind of becomes like,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know, Enigma 0.75 or something.
Yeah.
You know, maybe like that's
Maybe
enough
even
for me to be
better.
like, yeah, maybe, right? We don't know. We don't have enough
Yeah.
cards. Like
Well, we
that
don't
might
have a
be,
weapon yet. The weapon is
the weapon might
whew.
be a game changer. So
Yeah,
that
we'll
might be a
learn in like
reason.
3 hours, I think.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, it's at
Yeah.
9 something. Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Yep.
So that might be a reason to cut those 2 twin drives and put in the
Mm.
heists. Um, but I don't know. We'll see. I definitely, every time I see twin drive, especially when I'm only running 2, it feels pretty good.
2 is fine. Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
2 to me feels like the perfect sweet spot in a max V deck. And like, and that was actually something else where Rose and I differed. She ran her twin drives in the mirror, like when we were playing our game. She played them in the mirror, and I don't play them in aggro. Period.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah.
So that was something else. Like, you know, I have my setup turn, then she has her turn, and she ends it on a twin drive, which kind of surprised me seeing her. But you know, that's like small small things here and there. I just
Yeah.
know that I would only play it if I'm bringing the third max feat, and I'm needing to like pile my deck to, you know, for fatigue.
100%, yeah. But talking about like if we do see this like trend of more of getting more aggro, most people think that Syndra's the best aggro deck now. Like
Yep,
that's kind of the thing is that Syndra is the best aggro deck. So
yep,
that not only makes Heist good, but also another idea behind that is, would you ever try to find room for? I see you're only on 2 blue T-bones. Would you ever try to find room for that third blue T-bone and maybe even
absolutely.
yellows if we start seeing the ninjas be that good?
So at we were talking about before we started recording, Battle Hardened Charlotte.
Yeah.
So I also topped that PQ plus. Rose and I were the 2 DOs that topped that one,
Mm-hmm.
and that version of the deck, that was when Syndra was popular, and I had 9. I had Rainbow T-bones.
Yeah.
Um, so I will, if Syndra becomes like the de facto top aggro deck,
Yeah.
100% I'll swap the 0 to 60s for T-bones. And I'll add in that third T-bone. I don't know what I'll cut right now. It'll probably be one of the throttles or one of the zipper hits. Um,
Yeah.
I personally have a really hard time cutting blue throttle. I think it's like the best blue boost. I mean, best because like, I mean, you still want your 0 costs, right? Those are technically better for max V
Yeah.
turns, but like being able to still send a breakpoint in blue feels really good.
At the end of the
Um,
game. Yeah, definitely.
so that's also like, I've seen also some Dio decks don't run any blue throttles, which to me is kind of like insane.
I personally am not running any right now.
See, like to me that's insane. I just like, I don't know. Like even in aggro, like if I draw an all blue hand, like being, oh, not even all blue, but like let's say I draw a like it's like a random blue, a blue throttle, and then like zipper hit and a 0 cost boost or something, like still being able to send the 4,
Yeah,
like I don't know, it just feels really good to me. It's granted it's more for late game and it's more for like fatigue, but I
definitely.
love blue throttle.
Yeah. No,
That's kind of
trust
a
me.
tangent.
I no, that's fine. I also love like the throttle 0 to 60 zipper hit, like that trio right
Yeah,
there
of course.
is like cutting any of those is just so hard.
Yeah,
Like
100%.
just cuz like looking at them it's just like these cards are just like these are so overrated. Like these are
Yeah.
just such good cards. But
Yeah.
like in the end, I just like didn't want the two cost things.
Sure.
Like,
That's fair. That's fair.
yeah, just like only my
Especially, I
only
mean,
two
if
costs are Heist and Max V. So
yeah, yeah, I feel that. I mean, it might be you know, we'll see now. Like I said, if we're getting more aggro, it might even just be like going down to 2 Teklo cores, which
mm.
like my core feels wrong, but
It doesn't
um,
crank. It doesn't
I
crank.
know, I know, I trust me, I know. It's just like, man, it's just the card is so nuts.
It is. It is. It
It's
is
so
really really nuts.
like
Not gonna lie.
it sets up some insane turns.
Do you
So I
find
mean,
yourself sparking for Teklo Core a lot since you are on three of
turn
them?
zero. I will turn zero.
Yeah.
I will spark for Teklo core over Cerebellum turn zero.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Me too.
Um, Actually, this is kind of a tangent, but I just remembered, and was I'm glad that I saw this in the game. So, my round one of the PQ Plus versus Jarl.
Yeah.
I go. What did I do? I went first. I had a very mediocre setup turn. Um, and then he doesn't really do much with like going second. I think he just like sent hammer for 6 or something. Um, and I kind of agonized over it a little bit because it felt bad wasting the counter, but I had a Cerebellum on top and I had 2 pounders in hand. And so because he didn't really do much with his turn, I took the damage and I just like Cerebellum cranked to just play both pounders.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty good.
And of course that kind of setup just wins the games.
Oh, yeah.
It felt, like I said, at the time it felt kind of bad wasting a counter on Cerebellum, but I figured for 6 value,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
well,
like as good as it's
it's
gonna
like
get.
6 value. It kind of feels like more, right? Because you're sending you're sending harder breakpoints with a +2
Exactly.
turn, right, or +4. So like, you know,
Yeah, you're
in the end, of
sending a
course, it
breakpoint
won the
on board for the next 3 turns. Like
exactly.
having multiple pounders on at the same time, like both on three, or if you
Yeah.
can get 3 on 3, like
Oh
that's
yeah,
that's
that's
the
nuts.
nuts. Like
Yeah,
that's
100%.
just like okay, everything is +6. So this red 0 to 60 is 10 go again, and then
Yeah,
5 go
that's my
again.
favorite. My
Yeah.
one card 10 go again. It's
It's
so
so
disgusting.
good. It's like 10 go again, 5, 4, 10. Like,
Right.
how are you gonna block a boom grenade? I just came
Right.
at you
Exactly.
for 29 off of
Exactly.
just these cards.
Exactly. Yep. So, but yeah, that was just I don't know. That was kind of like a side tangent. I just remember from the game.
Yeah.
But going back to Teklo Core, um, yeah, I'll always spark turn zero for core over anything else.
Mm-hmm.
During the game, I part of the reason why I also don't hate keeping the cores is I like to have my item count be at least main board 60 be somewhere around 17, 18 items.
Yeah.
Because now I have a higher chance off of my sprocket rockets. So that's part of the reason why I don't mind cores still in the deck is I am most of the time I see a core on top, I don't play it out. I'm just boosting it away with
Fine
sprocket rocket,
boosting it. Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
But it also depends, of course, in like what state of the game is in. If it's still early, I'll probably play out the core, but
Yeah.
it just depends. But I don't know. A blue pitch that turns into 4 resources is I don't know. It's kind of nuts.
It is. It is definitely nuts. I would definitely say that I would you like say you have an all attack action hand and like spark. Would you just straight up spark or would you play out some of your cards and then spark to draw the card and then get an arsenal with the core out?
Is this
Like
for turn
zero,
zero?
turn zero. Yeah, yeah.
It depends on the matchup. If it's aggro, I probably won't because
Mm.
I'm throwing. I mean, sorry. If it's fatigue, I'm sorry. If it's fatigue, I probably
Yeah,
won't
yeah, yeah, yeah.
because I'm throwing away 3 cards or whatever for however many times I boost it. I'm just throwing away cards.
Yeah.
They're happy to just like throw their
Six
hand down.
cards. Yeah.
Usually fatigue decks they have a 3 on the bottom right, so they're just gonna boop 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 and they don't care.
Yeah.
Into aggro, I will 100% send the hand.
Mm-hmm.
It's especially if it's like a Syndra, if it's the mirror, especially decks that could in theory have cards that don't block or block 2, I will send that hand
Yeah.
1,000,000% of the time, and then end on a spark with a core. Yep.
Yeah. Spark and then arsenal that last card and get the core.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I had one of the pro was it ProQuest? I don't remember what it was. Some event recently. I did just that where I went zero. I went face face face. Ended on a core. Ended on a spark for a core arsenal, and I draw a harpoon off the top.
Ooh.
Like it's just
Yeah.
like some kind of gross stuff. And then the next turn, I'm just like able to like send a harpoon plus max V. Like it was just you just do some really dumb stuff when you have a Teklo core up.
Yeah, no, it's definitely true. I do love Teklo core. That's
Yeah,
why, like, even though it doesn't crank, there's still two of them like in my deck. Like
yeah, yeah.
that is
That
definitely,
yeah,
that's one way to put it. But like, I kind of have some questions about some of the new cards. Like, we haven't seen any of the commons or rares yet, but
of
there's a
course.
lot of talk about this Cog IO deck. Are you a believer in the Cog IO?
I haven't. Unfortunately, I haven't really put much time in. Like, I haven't really seen much of. I know people are talking about it. You know,
Yeah,
cog. They're playing Cogtane,
yeah,
and then running however many cogs. I mean, I don't know. My only concern is if you're playing Cog Dio, you can't play Max V. So
yeah. No, you can't. But you
so
do
like
get
I
to
don't know
play
if
like you do get to play the boats. The boats are pretty
yeah, that's true. I
good.
mean, Dovetail, by the way,
Dovetail's super good.
that card is like insanely broken. It's so
Yes.
disgusting. Being so like the best line is you're able to do it. You're able to go full modes off of two cogs.
Mm-hmm.
It's so disgusting.
Yeah.
Anyways,
It's a 1-for-7
uh,
with go again. That's
well,
so
so like
good.
you can turn it if you have two. Well, this is more of like a puffin line than it is
Yes.
a deal line. But like if you have tunic, you can go tunic dovetail if you have two out. You can go tunic dovetail plus one hit untap then give it go again and then
Yeah.
send pistol. So like it's a one card 10.
Yeah. That's so good. That is
um,
so good.
little things like that. But I don't I wish I had more. I don't really know if this Cogdio is real. Um, I the deck. I feel like the only way this deck wins is with Max V. I like
Yes.
the issue is like you can't really go mid range on this deck because you start at 36, right? It's like you're already kind of losing the game if you're trying to do it that way.
It's tough, yeah. And
That's
you're playing like 18 note blocks.
exactly. So that's kind of why I think Puffin is like the better mid range mech if you want to build that way.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. To me, it seems kind of unlikely. It seems kind of just like the hype over the new cards, but we'll see. Like I said, there's still plenty. Like you said, there's still plenty of cards that haven't been revealed. So like,
Yeah.
it could be real. We just don't know. Like if they print more, like just like
Cog
cog
payoffs.
generation and
Yeah.
or generation and payoff
Or
and like
well,
in the
actually, the
commons and rares.
generation is like really what we need. Like the
Yeah,
payoffs
like
are there.
you can't running 12 copper cogs is kind of unrealistic,
Please
right? Like
don't, please don't make me
like
do that.
that's like the current iteration of like puffin
Yes.
lists, right? So
Yeah.
like you need more cog generation besides copper cogs and cogtane, right?
Yeah.
That's like so we'll see. I mean, I'm hopeful that at least some of the rares would have it.
Yep.
Maybe, and I'm sure there's still majestics. There's still plenty of majestics that haven't been revealed. So hopefully.
I think there's only like two Majestics that haven't been revealed.
Oh really?
So
Oh well, never mind then.
maybe
I don't
one.
know.
Like,
So never mind.
or
So I
it's
guess we're
maybe
kind of cooked
two. I
there.
think it's one that hasn't, for
So we're kind
sure.
of cooked then. Oh, I guess it's the
Yeah.
expansion ones that haven't been revealed.
Oh, that's
But
true. Okay, so maybe,
I
maybe.
don't. I mean, I don't think expansion slot cards will have cog stuff in it. It'll be for other heroes.
No. Well, we might get a DIO expansion slot card, kind of
Oh,
like
that'd
the
be
Dull
cool.
Time Zone. Yeah, that would be
Oh,
nice.
that'd be nice if we get another crank item. That'd be cool.
Another crank item, another blue
I'll
crank
take.
item to take out more
Please.
Teklo cores.
I mean, we'll see. If it is good enough, I will cut down to two technical cores. I'm like, I have been like sitting on this for a while,
Yeah.
preparing mentally to cut down on technical cores.
Well, that's awesome. But do you have anything that you wanna like shout out? Any socials or anything that you wanna go for?
Uh, no, I'm not really on social media, so not really. No, I'm just like I love this deck. Um, the Hartford run was just kind of like the deck just like ran like insanely smoothly. I mean, every game, I don't know. I just I love this deck. Don't get me wrong. I the deck has definitely done me dirty with like
Oh yeah.
drawing 4 items and
Oh yeah.
drawing 2 max Vs with no other boost. The deck can definitely do you not right, but uh, when it runs smoothly, it's like it almost feels like unbeatable.
Yeah.
Um,
Truly.
yeah. So no shout outs, just love Dio. Excited to keep playing her. Hopefully, we get she looks good for Nats because it's ideally who I'd want to play.
Yeah.
And I'm tired of finding excuses to not play her.
Okay. So you're gonna be at Nats.
Yes, I'll be a Nat.
Nice. Okay, I'll be there too. I will not be playing in Nats, but I will be there
Okay.
kind of I'll be there like with some friends like doing some different kind of work. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's awesome. I'll definitely see you in Vegas. Are you going to be going to Singapore?
Unfortunately, so I did get an invite,
Oh,
but I have well, one, it's very far, but two,
Yes.
I have other commitments that weekend, so I can't
Okay.
unfortunately make it.
Fair
Um,
enough. Fair enough.
yeah, but I mean, I would love to go. I really want to go to Singapore.
Hmm.
But unfortunately, it's not going to work out for Pro Tour.
Okay.
We'll see.
Sad.
Yeah. So the last thing, so
Mm.
I was kind of mentioning like I'm trying I don't I'm tired of like finding excuses to not play Dio
Yeah.
because so this battle hardened I played Verdance in the battle hardened um and the deck I know
Burdens.
I did a lot of testing with some buddies and in testing Verdance was felt really good.
Yeah.
Granted, it was a lot of Talishar games, so like I think I kind of got baited by my good Talishar results. And the deck performed like complete ass.
Hmm.
And so of course, anytime that happens, anytime like the deck I pick to play doesn't do well, I will always play kind of like resort to Dio.
Yeah.
And so I played Dio on Sunday. Of course, it went really well. I split the finals, and then same thing kind of happened in Charlotte. I played Enigma in the
Yeah.
battle hardened, and I was doing really well actually at first. Then I make a huge blunder, and then I lose the game. I'm tilted out of my mind. Then I'm like, I just like dropped because I just couldn't. I was just so mad at myself. I
Yeah.
dropped, and then I went and played Dio on Sunday, and I top 4'd that event. So I'm just like, I need to stop finding excuses to not play Dio. I just
That's
need to
yeah.
play Dio.
I've done the same exact thing. Like I remember at SCG Con Denver,
Yeah,
we had day one. I played at that PQ plus. I played Enigma, and I was like, okay, well, this is the best deck in the format, so
yeah,
gonna play this. It's great. And
yeah,
then like I don't know what it was. You know, I feel like I'm playing it really well. I
yeah.
just don't win games, and I think
Sure.
like
Yeah.
the decks that block, I'm just bad at. So maybe I'm just like bad at like half the game, but you know, who cares? As long as you can send 30 damage every turn or every
Right.
game, like it doesn't
Yeah.
matter if you can block or not. But
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly.
I played Dio the next day and I did really really well, and then I was just like, I'm not playing anything else. Like that was the same
Yeah.
thing. I almost played Aurora at one of my PQs, and then I was like,
Don't do
it's
it.
so good, but like
Yeah.
I just have more fun playing Dio, and I feel like if you're just
Exactly.
playing the thing
Exactly.
that you're having fun with, then you're
Yep.
just gonna do better. And that was the progress I won. So
Well, there you go.
definitely a good
Yeah.
idea to do that.
Yeah. So you're in the same boat. We gotta
Yeah,
stop finding excuses to not play Dio. Just
yeah,
play the deck, right? It's a high variance deck, but it's fun. And
it's so fun.
when it's churning, it's like unbeatable at times. So
Oh yeah, definitely.
yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much for coming out and having a nice little chat today.
Of course.
It
Appreciate you
was,
having me.
yeah, this was a really good one. So I appreciate you coming out and
Of course.
hanging out for a little while.
Not a
Um,
problem.
Anybody else, leave a like and subscribe, and any comments that you have, we'll have his deck list down in the description below, and be able to send out some comments, send out some love, whatever it is. Peace out, everybody. Oh, wrong one.